Life Audio.
Thank you for listening to Your Daily Bible Verse, the podcast that examines one verse each day to learn more about God and His will for our lives. I'm your host, Kyle Norman. After a brief message from one of our sponsors, we will continue with our Experiencing Christ This Christmas series with a discussion of today's verse.
This Christmas season, you can help deliver hope and joy to families across America. When you give to Focus on the Family, you help save Christian marriages, spiritually equip parents, help women feel equipped and supported to choose life, and serve kids in foster care. And right now, your dollars go twice as far. Every gift between now and December 31st will be matched dollar for dollar up to $1 million. $60 can help bring biblical tools and practical support to families who desperately need it. Give now and double your impact at focusonthefamily.com/hope and joy. Help deliver hope and joy today.
The land of Israel is more than history. It's the key to understanding the Bible today. Join us on the Out of Zion podcast as we connect the Bible, Israel, and your life. Don't wait. That's Out of Zion with Dr. Susan Michael, USA Director for the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem. Your connection to God's heart for Israel. Listen now at oneplace.com or watch the series on lightsource.com.
Today's verse can be found in Luke chapter 1, verses 24 and 25. After this, his wife Elizabeth became pregnant and for 5 months remained in seclusion. "The Lord has done this for me," she said. "In these days he has shown his favor and taken away my disgrace among the people." I remember when my wife became pregnant with our son. We had been married for a couple years and had approached the topic of children with a certain thoughtfulness. We talked about life plans, what we wanted to achieve in our careers, where our work might take us, and how we might support children. And even though we were both in our late 20s and this pregnancy fit into our plans, the announcement that my wife was pregnant seemed miraculous. I was filled with joy. I'm not sure how I would have responded if my wife became pregnant after she was well beyond childbearing years. How do you think you would have responded? We sometimes forget the drama of the scene. Elizabeth and Zechariah are both well on in years. They have lived their life, and they've lived it well. Zechariah was a respected priest in the temple, and Elizabeth herself was known to be upright in the Lord. The couple was a strong and faithful couple before the Lord. But as Elizabeth was known to be barren. Now, in the ancient world, the inability to conceive a child was sometimes understood as God's judgment upon someone. It was a holdover of the sins of the father being visited upon the children. So I wonder how Elizabeth and Zechariah faced her inability to conceive. Did Elizabeth hold a secret sense of shame about her? Did she wonder what she did to anger God? We know that she remarks that God had taken away her disgrace. How exhausting it must have felt at times to believe in the ever-present goodness of God, but deep within feel a personal disgrace due to an inability to become pregnant. But then a miracle erupts in her life, the answer to a long-standing prayer. And in response, Elizabeth goes into seclusion for 5 months. She steps away from the busyness of life as she currently knew it, and into this place of silence and stillness. And we sometimes interpret this action as a desire to get away from prying eyes and glib comments. After all, getting pregnant at her age would undoubtedly have been a spectacle in her community. The thought is, Elizabeth secludes herself to avoid people. But I wonder if something else is going on. I wonder if Elizabeth secludes herself not to avoid others, but to be with her Lord in an intentional and focused way. We read that she remains in seclusion for 5 months, saying, "The Lord has done this for me." Elizabeth, she steps out of the limelight, out of the crowds, so that she could center herself on the presence of God and the wonderful act of power which was bestowed in her life. She spends 5 months in prayerful contemplation of God's great goodness and love. It's this time of prayer. It's this time of intimacy. It's this time of connection. The spiritual disciplines of silence and solitude have long-standingly been an important activity for Christian people. We live in a world that runs sometimes at breakneck speed, and this is no truer than entering the lead-up to Christmas celebration. The tasks loom large, and there are plenty of things that need to get done. With such frenzy swirling around us, it can be easy to lose track of God's presence. Christmas becomes all about the activities that we need to do, rather than this grand thing that God has done for us. So what can we do to combat this? Well, we can join Elizabeth in seclusion. We can find moments to step away from everything around us and sit in silence and solitude so that we can attend to Christ coming into our lives. As we approach the celebration of Christ incarnate in the midst, God has pronouncements of love and grace that God wants to make in our lives. God has work that God wants to do in us, new life that God wants to bring about. What is more, God has already begun this work. What has the Lord done for you lately? What life has God led you into? What grace has surrounded your life? Experiencing Christ this Christmas doesn't have to be complicated, but it does take a certain amount of intention on our behalf. And stepping into silence and stillness for the purpose of reflecting on God's work in us, that's a good place to start. When we reflect on God's past work in us, we naturally open ourselves up to what God wants to do moving forward, and we train ourselves to be able to perceive the movements of the Spirit all around us. Solitude and silence. It's not about the people we avoid. It's about the one that we join. So may you experience Christ this Christmas by taking the time to join in the presence of Jesus.
For some of us, personal finances aren't just personal. They include loved ones, neighbors, the communities we call home, and the causes we hold in our hearts. At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than just money. We help you put your plans into motion and faith into action so you can do more for the ones in your heart. Because sometimes all you need to make a difference is someone to help you make it happen. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at thrivent.com.
Running out of time to find the perfect gift? Aura Frames makes it look like you planned it all along. Preload photos, add a message, and send it ready to display. A personal gift they'll love. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames using promo code LIFEAUDIO at checkout. Don't forget to mention Life Audio Network at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.